I'm sitting here next to the river doing a little tutorial on cold water paddling gear, and a couple people just stopped by and asked me what the hell my raft is. And I explained to them that it was called a pack raft. And most people think that it's a pool toy from, you know, a local hardware store, but it's very different than that. And today I'm going to show you what exactly is a pack raft, why I have one, how to inflate it, basically everything you need to know. I've owned two in my life, and I now have the Gnarwhal, which is essentially a creek boat designed for whitewater, and the entire thing weighs less than 10 pounds.
Pack rafts are very capable devices, with experienced paddlers running the most difficult of rapids. A pack raft shouldn't be viewed as a replacement for a hard-sided boat. Instead, you should see it as a separate tool to be used when the trip logistics and conditions are appropriate. These crafts are designed to allow access to remote camping locations where it is simply not feasible to get a hard-shell kayak into, often carried in a backpack along with multiple days' worth of food and gear, allowing you to carry it into the backcountry to reach rivers and lakes. Packrafting is a sport that uses an individual-sized inflatable boat called a pack raft that's tough and durable, but also light and compact. There are numerous companies making them, with my preference being Alpacka. They are nimble, agile, with appropriate whitewater kayak features, allowing them to navigate fast-moving water, drops, rocks, and edge into eddies. And yes, experienced pack rafters are even capable of rolling their boats similar to traditional kayaks. Let's take a closer look at mine, which happens to be the Alpacka Gnarwhal with the whitewater skirt.
Well, here you have it, my entire pack rafting setup. I've got my Werner 4-piece paddle. This is my pack raft seat. This is my actual pack raft. I'll show you how to inflate it. This is the whitewater skirt. I don't know what to call this thing, but it goes into a slot around the rim of the seat of the pack raft, and then you can put your whitewater skirt on it. That is your whitewater skirt. It's my PFD and the inflation bag. Now this packs up pretty small, and the entire setup, including the getup that I'm wearing, which is actually my cold water paddling gear, is around 15 pounds. Sounds like a lot, but if it's a beautiful summer day and I just need the raft without the whitewater skirt and just the paddle, it's around 7 pounds. So it's very easy to pack deep into the woods and then, you know, kayak a river on the way out. One seat. It's important that you listen to this. The way that you inflate the pack raft is through an inflation bag. There is no pumps or anything like that. It's a giant bag that you fill with air if it's a little bit windy or a breeze. You screw a valve onto it, and then you compress the air out of the inflation bag into the raft. It takes a few minutes, quite simple. I do it all the time. Let me show you. The valve is here. We unscrew it. We take this, slide it on and twist, and now we inflate. Get some air. Once you've got enough pressure in it, the valve inside will self-seal, and you can top it up with your mouth, which is a little bit easier to get higher pressure. One thing to note is that if your boat sits in the sun for a long time, the air inside actually expands. There's actually a risk that it can blow up. I've never actually had it before. And the vice versa happens, or the opposite happens, when you go in the water. So if you inflate this with hot air, you know, the regular ambient temperature, and then you go kayak or pack raft a river like I'm going to do, that's basically snow melt, the air inside will actually compress. And what you need to do is you need to top up the air again, which you can actually do from the seated position. It's a little bit awkward, but it's possible. So inside you can see that there's a back brace, there's thigh straps, and these thigh straps are for control. You actually put your legs up in there, and that way you can move the boat and control the boat a little bit better. You get the seat, we install it like so. You can see here, the seat is installed. I actually let a little bit of air out. I forgot I actually like it a little bit softer. And next, we put in the skirt bracket around the rim. To do that, we take this plastic piping that came with it, we run it through this slot. It's gonna feel a little bit tight to get in. Then we zip. On this particular unit, I have what's called the bow bag, which is a waterproof bag that goes on the front that you can store gear in. To complete the mission, we put on the whitewater skirt. Prepare a 4-piece paddle. I took these off, but we put them back on. Let's hit the water. So we're about to hit the water now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go over a couple things on how to maneuver the pack raft and why there's some similarities between, let's say, a standard or typical whitewater kayak, but this is just an inflatable one. I had mentioned this earlier, but it's not uncommon for the pack raft to feel less firm once it's hits the cold water. So like I said, put it in, swaddle around a little bit, paddle around a little bit, and if you feel the hot air inside cooling and the pack raft becoming a little bit squishy, then go ahead and manually put a couple more breaths in to keep it nice and firm. Okay. It's gonna have to be as good as it gets. The GoPro just fell in the... Put your 2 feet in. Step in, no problem. Second thing to do, put your knees under the thigh brace. If you feel that the thigh brace is too tight, you can loosen right here. There are going to be many of you that tell me that the thigh braces are not safe. I agree, you must use them cautiously. Once you get used to them, it's easy to exit. Okay? Next, the whitewater skirt. Let me see if I can put this right here. I usually go around the back, feet all the way to the front, little by little. There are 2 knee pockets right here. Move the paddle out of the way if you need to. Gotta mention, this is much easier to do when you're not trying to film it. Put your neoprene gloves on. You'll notice a couple of things. One, that the pack raft is much more stable than than one of your standard kayaks. So it's also much more difficult to roll. Do not flip the kayak. Let's go have a little fun. We'll meet up in a bit. So we're just cruising here. We did our first little set of rapids. I don't even like to classify rapids like that because they're so shallow. Almost like the ones coming up here. But the boat is getting a little deflated. So we will have to inflate at the next portage. Second thing is the deep section is over here. And all these birds, they're going to attack me, I can tell. So we are actually stopping for a quick portage over the dam. And to get out of your pack raft is the opposite of getting in. Pull the whitewater skirt, push your legs down. Your knees will fall out of the thigh straps. Ugh. And you get out. It's that simple. All this gear with everything in it, very light. So I found that, you know, carrying it like this for half a kilometer or so is pretty simple. You start getting into like 3-4 kilometer things, it's worth the effort to pack it down and put it in your backpack. But again, that's up to you. Woo! So like I said, when you get to a portage, after it's been in the cold water. It's a little bit soft. Just go ahead and top it up with a couple of breaths. In case you're wondering, I actually already topped it up, so there wasn't much more to put in. There's one thing that I forgot to tell you. I hope you can hear me. Maybe I'll do this on the water. This here has a zipper at the back. You've probably noticed it. What that does is it actually allows you to open up the pack raft and hang your gear inside the tubes. So that way, if you've got like a 20-day trip or something and you're going to be on the water for long periods of time, you don't have to put a giant bag on the front and back. You can actually fill the tubes with your gear. It's a pretty cool feature. I think I've gone over most of the stuff. Really all that's left to do is run some rapids, and we're gonna do that right now. Got some good wave trains coming up here. Actually really good. I wonder if I shouldn't somehow film this. Filming and paddling ain't the easiest. Okay, a couple things I want to go over. One, the river is running very low today. Pretty bony, but not like we don't need to portage it. We can run everything. We're just dragging a little bit. But the bottom of a pack raft is actually pretty durable. Trust me, this exact pack raft I had with me in Baffin Island in the Arctic, and I can't remember if I took this one to Chile or not. I got to take a look. Long story short, the bottom is much more stronger than you think, much tougher than you think. I've never popped one. Now that being said, I don't run like some crazy stuff. I'm gonna have to stop filming here. Oh, but no, the other thing I wanted to say was Packrafts floats very high in the water, unlike a canoe or a kayak. I'll be back. So long story short, just want to let you know that a pack raft floats very high in the water, which allows us to float some of these lower rivers. That being said, you can still get hung up on rocks, so be careful. Okay, I'm going to put this away now until we get out of here. Okay. Woo! There we go. Did I already tell you about my helmet? I left my helmet, my paddling helmet at home. And I'm about, a half hour, 45 minutes away from my house to run this river. So I bought a new one. That's why I have this like bike helmet kind of thing on, in case you're wondering. Hey man, I'm just gonna cruise through here. Is that okay? I saw you had the headphones on, that's why I snuck up on you. Thanks, man. This, my friends, is the end of the line. Just hit a massive rock with my feet. Okay guys, well, now I really think it's over. I can't think of anything else to tell you about the Packraft other than the only thing I regret is waiting so long to buy one. So if you're thinking about it, I'd recommend doing it. So much fun, opens up the backcountry, all kinds of stuff like that. Again, any questions in the comments section, you know you can always email me. I'm Steve Evans, and I'll see you on the trail. You know what, I almost forgot to tell you guys why this is the world's greatest car. The 2008 Honda Element. Check it out, let me show you why. That's how you pack an Element. Just like that.